What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful 24 official channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button today. Let's get started. Brewing Lee's mental health treatment. What will happen when niece wakes up? The Bold and the Beautiful reveal that Luna Nozawa mental health treatment could be brewing. When Lee Finnegan's niece wakes up, will that be her strategy? Lee is currently concentrating on keeping Luna alive and preparing her for a full recovery. B&B Lee has taken a leave of absence from a hospital, so she's devoting her life to this secret Luna mission, at least for now. Of course, we have to consider what Lee will do once Luna finally bounces back. What happens when Luna comes out of her coma and is fully recovered? Lee doesn't want Luna to land in prison again, but she can't be allowed back on the street with the mentality she had before. At the same time, Lee can't just keep Luna tucked away like this forever. Lee is prepared to provide Luna with that support now because she believes that things would have been different for Luna if she had received it earlier on. Lee clearly doesn't think it's too late for Luna to escape Poppy Nozawa's bad parenting and get on a better path. Lee may have plans for mental health treatment with all of this in mind. It's easy to imagine Lee recruiting some psychiatric care for Luna and maybe even trying to get her off the hook for all the chaos at the beach house. Naturally, that could get tricky since Lee could get in big trouble for faking Luna's death and preventing her arrest. Even so, this is B&B we're talking about, so there'll surely be some legal loopholes and liberties taken. The show could have just let Luna face a fatal outcome or had her land behind bars once more. Since they kept Luna alive and put her under Lee's watch instead, we have to believe they're going somewhere interesting with all this. Will Luna receive the genuine assistance she requires from mental health treatment? Will Luna transform her life, or just fake it in the end? Although the news of Luna's survival will still shake up the canvas, the Bold and the Beautiful assert that Lee will do whatever it takes to modify Luna's mentality. Luna is stolen from Lee Finnegan by Sheila Carter? On the Bold and the Beautiful, Sheila Carter was one of the biggest con artists. If Lee Finnegan thinks she will swindle her, she has something else in store. How long will it be before Grandma Sheila realizes Dr. Lee Finnegan's big secret and finds Luna Nozawa? Keep reading to find out. Here's what's happening next week on Bold and Beautiful. According to B&B, Sheila Carter wishes to pay her respects to her granddaughter Luna Nozawa, but she is unable to obtain a clear response regarding the condition of Luna's body. Lee's secret is discovered by Sheila. This week on the CBS soap, Sheila will continue to question Dr. Lee Finnegan inquired about the burial location of Luna. Sheila will likely recall that Lee impersonated her son Dr., and she can tell the doctor is concealing something. The passing of John Finnegan a few years ago. It won't be long Sheila Carter connects the dots and begins following Luna's other grandma. B&B hint by next week Sheila could discover Luna in a makeshift hospital room where Lee left her. She will, however, be confronted with a dilemma. Sheila will be charged with attempting to shoot and kill Steffi Forrester and Liam Spencer if she fakes Luna's death and takes her back to the hospital. However, she also lacks faith in Lee Finnegan and fears for her granddaughter's safety. Sheila wants Luna for herself. According to the Bold and the Beautiful, Sheila's most logical course of action would be to kidnap Luna Nozawa from Lee and keep her in her own private hospital room. Sheila may already have one somewhere, given how many times she has faked her own death. In a story that's unraveling with all the classic twists, hidden agendas, and heart-pounding revelations that the Bold and the Beautiful fans crave, Luna Nozawa's uncertain fate is beginning to take shape behind the tightly drawn blinds of a private room far from the public eye, beyond the reach of the justice system, and most definitely outside the knowledge of the Forresters and the Spencers. Dr. Lee Finnegan, once a steady-handed, by-the-book medical professional, has taken the most dramatic of detours, her moral compass wavering under the weight of guilt, love, and desperation as she attempts to orchestrate a psychological intervention for her niece Luna, who remains comatose after the events at the beach house that nearly cost her everything, including her freedom. What began as a quiet act of protection, one that involved faking Luna's death and spiriting her away to an undisclosed location, has quickly snowballed into a high-stakes emotional mission for redemption and restoration. The question isn't only whether Luna will survive, but whether Lee is prepared to reshape her niece's entire mental and emotional framework once she awakens, and if she even has the right to do so. But what happens when love crosses the line into control? That's where this tangled tale is heading, as Luna's recovery could soon merge with an intense course of psychiatric treatment, one possibly more about absolution for Lee's own regrets than true healing for her niece. Lee's life right now is a paradox that is both frozen and frantic. She's taken a leave of absence from the hospital she once held dominion over and dedicated herself entirely to Luna's covert care. She keeps track of vitals, administers fluids, and takes notes like a vigilante, and she lives in the nimble space that exists between maternal instinct and ethical collapse. Yet this entire operation isn't just about Luna's physical survival. Lee has begun mapping out a future she believes Luna deserves, one she wasn't given as a child, thanks to what Lee views as Papi Nozawa's irresponsible and erratic parenting. Lee doesn't see this as punishment. She sees it as a rebirth, a clean slate. She believes that Luna's brush with death is the universe presenting her a second chance to shape the woman Luna might become, not the confused, lovesick, borderline unstable version of her that unraveled in the weeks before her collapse. But of course, there's a fine line between helping and controlling, and Lee is starting to blur it. The belief that Luna must never be allowed to return to the version of herself that exploded on that fateful day at the beach house underpins everything Lee does, from hanging the saline bag to writing a journal entry about her niece's mental state to whispering to Luna late at night. Lee is convinced that if Luna's mental health had been prioritized sooner, if someone had intervened during her formative years, things would never have gone so far. Now, with a second chance in her grasp, she's determined to correct those missed opportunities. The audience is left wondering, is Lee trying to save Luna, or is she trying to erase her? Regardless, Lee is developing a treatment strategy that includes more than just physical therapy. According to people who know inside information about BNB, she may already be in touch with a group of private psychiatrists who specialize in post-trauma behavioral reconditioning. If Lee becomes convinced that drastic measures are required, it is not out of the question to envision a storyline in which Luna, once awake, is kept isolated even further and not in a coma. Instead, she is subjected to a strict regimen of medications, therapy, and possibly even electroconvulsive treatments. This is where the ethics begin to deteriorate, because Lee's plan, however well-intentioned, lacks the most crucial element of medical consent. Luna, after all, isn't a minor. Even though some of her decisions were forged in pain, identity confusion, or emotional instability, she is a young woman who has made her own decisions, for better or worse. Lee believes she's protecting her from a world that will never understand her, but the danger is that she may also be robbing her of agency, of voice, and of identity. And then, like a ghost from the underworld, Sheila Carter enters the fray. At first, it's just a series of questions. Sheila, having survived her own brushes with mortality, prison, and public condemnation, knows the signs of deception. She begins poking around, asking about the body, about the funeral arrangements, about why no one was allowed to see Luna in death. Something doesn't smell right, and Sheila Carter, for all her madness, has a sixth sense for lies, especially when they're being told by someone like Dr. Lee Finnegan, a woman she's long distrusted. It's not lost on Sheila that Lee once faked her son Finn's death, locking him away in her own private hospital room while the world grieved. Could the past be rehashing itself? Is Luna also being concealed by Lee? The truth, of course, is yes, and Sheila is closing in on it with all the tenacity of a predator who's just picked up a scent. The stakes skyrocket. If Sheila finds Luna, the dominoes begin to fall. Lee would be exposed for obstructing justice, falsifying records, kidnapping by medical deception, and more. But Sheila has her own twisted reasons to want Luna all to herself. This is, after all, her granddaughter. Sheila sees Luna as a chance to rewrite her own legacy despite the fact that she never had a real relationship with her. Luna is family to Sheila, a piece of herself that has not been tainted by decades of betrayal, and she may have found a way to be forgiven. So what does she do when she finally traces Lee to the hidden location and discovers Luna, unconscious but alive, in a private care room like some sleeping beauty kept under glass? Sheila faces her own dilemma. If she reveals the truth, she risks jail time herself for her recent crimes, including the attempted murder of Steffi Forrester and Liam Spencer. However, if she remains silent and allows Lee to continue playing the role of doctor behind closed doors, she runs the risk of permanently losing Luna to a person she does not trust. BNB spoilers hint that Sheila may take the most unthinkable route, stealing Luna away from Lee's secret hospital setup and relocating her to her own makeshift facility.